I just forced myself to do some work on this AMX. I pulled the rest of the rubber out of here. I'm going to wire brush this. I'm going to pull this trunk off of here and DA it down good. I'm going to primer this. Try to clean up the inside of this with a wire brush as good as I can. I just vacuumed all the junk out of it. Just try to put a coat of primer on here. Try to get something done. I'll have to pull out the lights, of course. And I think my bumper's good enough. I'm going to paint the front one, so I really need to do something here with this back bumper. It's pretty straight. I played with those mounts and stuff for a couple days on this, but I need to primer it and paint it. So I've got quite a bit of work here to clean up all this inside, get it primered, and it's probably a whole day's work here, but at least I'm moving forward on it. Looks like I've got to clean this up a little in there. Anyway, we'll move on forward on this and get it all wire brushed down so it looks like. Another test of our super cleaner. I got all the dirt and stuff blown out of this, but it still has some grease in it. So I'm just gonna spray this down with this super cleaner stuff. And hopefully I'll get some of the grease out of it. I'm just going to wipe it and with a rag. My all this stuff makes me cough. Looks like you need to do it in a fairly well ventilated area. So anyway, that's sprayed down pretty good. I'll just let that set a while, have lunch, wipe it out with a rag, and blow it, and we'll find out how well this is gonna help paint stick to it. I'm not gonna try to do the best job in the world. I just want to get it clean and primered, and we'll see what happens after that. Well, it did a good job. I let it soak a while and then wiped it down with a wet rag. It took a lot out. I couldn't say it's any better or worse than anything else, but I had to wash my rag out 3 or 4 times and it was just black, so I would say that it was a success. Took a lot of grease out of it. I'm just letting the water dry off now, and yeah, it looks like it did a good job. there in the top. Need to wipe that a little more. Probably just undercoat. But then I'll mask this outside here. And I'm going to try to prime this. And I gotta sand the inside of that hood over there, or the trunk. I'll prime that too, so that'd be pretty good. Well, this is all ready, and I'm using this Nexura epoxy primer. It's 2-to-1. Stuff gets hard real quick. I've got about half a quart mixed up here. Just put it in my gun. We'll paint this thing first. Well, that went on just beautifully. Sprayed real well. Laid down good. Gave me a glossy finish. And I started on the trunk here with what was left in the gun. Kind of got it started anyway. And I found out that even with a mask on, I couldn't breathe in here. So I stuck a couple fans that are blowing through here, and I'll try to mix up the rest of my batch and see if I can finish this. Well, there we go. This piece turned out real nice. So I need to do some work. I broke 2 bolts there, getting that striker out, but I've drilled those. I'll tap them for another bolt. The trunk was really a problem. Spraying that primer in there, it just set, about choked me out. I didn't even finish part of it over there. But what I did get looks pretty good. I missed quite a bit of it. I didn't mix enough primers what it was. But I think this is good enough for a, I'll have to put some more in here. Good enough for a trunk. In my gun, I couldn't spray very high with it because of the way the hose and stuff was on it. So I think what I'm going to do on this part here, well, I really need to prime that. This one, not too bad. So I have to reprime this again, or mix more up and finish priming it. But I think I'll just spray undercoating on a lot of this. If I'm having that much trouble just putting primer on, it's really going to be hard to paint. I'll have to buy a new mask. I was getting overwhelmed. I don't breathe too good anyway. Anyway, I'll mix up some more and reprime this another day, but what it was after was the rubber here, and I got it all real good. It's all sanded down and primed real good. I'll be able to glue my rubber in that, and I'll have to pull off all my lights and bumper and everything and finish this rear end. But that was basically the last of the primer. I already got the hood and stuff, I think, and I need to do the inside of the doors there. Still a lot of work left on this thing, but it's another day closer. I gotta get out of here. This epoxy primer is really kicking my butt. I'll leave these fans on all night. The shelf should be dry by then. Well, here we are another day. I pulled this extension off of the AMX, and it looks like I had not really finished this. I've got a rust out hole here I need to weld. The rest of it's all pretty much done. It's got a little bit of rust where I welded this. This not really stripped good, and so I'm going to pull this bottom piece off, weld this. I didn't really finish this section here the other day when I was primering it. So the goal today is to weld that up, get this bottom piece off of here, and prime this whole back piece with this epoxy primer. And depends on how I feel and how quick I get it primered. Then maybe I'll just paint this back part here with the blue of the final color of the car. See where I'm at. I think I'll be able to do it today. Anyway, that's goal to get this painted blue. There's my little patch welded in. Might have a couple little holes in it, but I'll just hit this with a grinder here and clean it up. See what it looks like. Well, here it is welded. I had to burn a hole in it, start chasing that, but I finally got it stopped and I welded this one. And so now I grind this off, and I should have pretty good metal there. That was quite a bit of grinding. This all good through here, and I discovered some thin places here. Debating whether I ought to just put fiberglass in there. This whole piece was rusted out across here. I think I ought to just cut it out, weld another good piece in there. Kind of a pain in the butt, but I'm doing a lot of work to make this right. I ought to just go ahead and cut it out and make it right, and be done with thinking about it. Well, I cut it out and welded a new piece in, and of course I blowing through my metal in a few places, but I think I got it all good. Now I just grind it down and see what I got. Well, there it is, ground down. Got one little pinhole in it right there, but the rest of it looks pretty good. And so I'm just gonna bondo this up and sand it off, put my tail light in it, make sure it's all straight. And took me longer than I thought again, but pretty much got a good solid piece all the way across here now. Found another little hole right there. Again, I'm just gonna bondo this stuff. It's so thin that in a few places, if I just try to touch it with my welder, it just burns through, and then I wind up with a big old weld patch in it. So I think this is good enough for now. Well, I chewed that all up with a board sander. Looks pretty good across here on the top. I need a little bit more here, and the light is straight, so I'll just put a little more Bondo on here and bring this out where it's a straight shot across there, and sand it down again. And I worked on this bottom piece. I made it kind of match the bumper there, or that valance. I need to cut that groove back in it with a hacksaw. A little more sanding on that, and I need to fix that bottom of that fender a little better. But anyway, this valance piece will mold into there pretty good. This was my main concern up here. Looks like my weld was all lower than the highest spot, so that's all good. Bondo filled it up. One more little coat of Bondo and some sanding, and I can DA the rest of this white paint down, take off that valance, and I should be able to throw some primer on it. Well, there it is, all Bondoed and DA'd down. I got a little hand sanding right in there to do to clean it up. I got the bottom of this piece good, and a groove cut in it. So looks like I'm about ready to take off this lower valance here, DA all this stuff that's left here, and squirt a coat of primer on it. I think I'll be good to go. It quit raining and all my leaks stopped, and it's supposed to be maybe a little bit left, but there's nothing back here. So that's what I'll do. I'll pull that valance off there and see if I can get some primer in here, and maybe finish up this trunk. I'm gonna take all my tools out of there and clean it again. But my little weld job worked out real good. It's not that critical because the tail light covers all this, so that should be all right. It kind of feels good to be moving on with this thing. It looks like somebody's gonna come and buy the truck. My buddy brought me 3 rakes. He wants me to put bolts in them. All right, I'll do that. Anyway, back to taking this thing apart some more. Well, here we go, the next morning. This has all been primed. I got it pretty good inside the trunk here. It's a good epoxy primer. This piece here is all done. I got that good. All the inside of this is good. Everything fits on there straight. This section's all straight. Got a little bit of glazing that I need to do, but the whole back end is good and straight, and this piece here, I got a little bit of work to do right there in the corner, but the valence is good. All the back is good. Really all I have to do now is pull that tail light out of there, do a little fine sanding and a little touch up by hand, and this whole section will be ready for blue paint. Should do the inside of my trunk. It's over there. So maybe that's what I'll concentrate on today. I only got a few hours, but I think I'll be good to go to mix up my blue paint, paint all the inside of this. Then I can start putting the valance and everything back on it. Looks good. I like that epoxy primer. I was having some gun problems with it, but it's basically doing real nice. Looks like I got a little place right there that needs to be fixed. A little Bondo and sanding on that. So I should be able to paint it today. Press on. Well, I started working on it a little more, cleaned up some more edges in here. Worked on this side here. It really wasn't done very well, and worked a little bit more right in this area. Just put some glazing putty or Bondo on it, and it's pretty straight now. I got somewhere I gotta go, so I'm gonna mix up a little bit more of this primer and just spray this thing again. And it's probably not perfect, but I can sand the primer down, anything that's left over, but I did have to do a little Bondo work on it, and this will make it all good, and we'll move on from there. So that's next, to primer this. Well, there it is, primed again. My mask is about done for, but looks pretty good. I might have a little bit of touch-up left on it, but not a lot. Just about all of this is going to be covered up anyway. So I'll get out of here and let it dry, and I'll come back a few hours and shut off the fans. Well, there it's dried. Looks pretty good. Got it real straight on all the corners and everything. So, of course, I didn't make it to the paint, but I'm not dissatisfied with the results I got today. So basically a little final sanding and tweaking, and it'll be ready to paint. It'll be another part of the saga. I got a little sanding to do on this. See there in the corner. But tailpiece is done. Like always, took me longer than I thought, but trying to do a good job on it. So that's all for this little video. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.